It's like I can definitely make this. Wednesday, I was like, it's gonna be tough, but Thursday, if you can make it that far, you're good.
Yeah. Might have a slower start today because I've been streaming, other things lately. What's up, Spling? What's up, Judy Hops? What's up, Fishman? Here we go. This is episode 3. What's up, Drado?
Episode 3 of the Two Dads Podcast. I'm Simply.
I'm your host, Cheezo5. All right.
What are we going to be talking about today? Give me the lowdown here.
Well, basically, today's episode, it's going to be based around RNG and speedrunning. All the things that could make your run complicated and annoying. That is probably the most popular meme and thing in general in speedrunning.
Everybody knows about it, dude.
Yeah, RNG.
You hear about it really early on.
RNG manipulation.
All the time.
Yeah.
RNG manipulating it. It's a whole lot of culture going on in RNG.
All right. And also we're going to talk about overall growing your community. I guess depends on what game you play, but trying to find ways to basically make a community bigger, better, more helpful to the new players that come in, having resources, stuff like that. I think Discord is a huge helping factor in that case. Discord, dude, with the introduction of Discord has helped. It's just opened so many ways to have all these servers and channels that just make it so much easier for everyone to be in one big huge channel together. Everything could be seen by everyone in seconds. It's probably the best thing that's happened for speedrunning in a while. Okay. I think you guys would like today's guest. Yeah, today's guest is the MrLlamaSC.
Yay! Woo, yeah, Mr. Llama!
Ooh, what happened to your webcam there, buddy? Okay.
What happened to it?
No, we're here. All right, so I would like to invite the Mr. Llama. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. How about you two?
We're great.
Fantastic.
That's good. Dude.
How's the Thursday going so far?
Thursday, off work. Feeling good now. Maybe do some speed running later. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh, going for world records.
Going for world records.
Going for a world record.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so first question.
Story?
Yeah.
Okay, from where? My speedrun story, my start story, my.
Give us the whole deets, man. The whole.
Give us the lowdown.
Give us the lowdown.
All right, let's go back.
I guess starting on. Yeah, let's go back. Take us as far back as you'd like.
All right, I'll go all the way back to my name is MrLlamaSC because I thought I was going to be a StarCraft caster, probably about 5 to 6 years ago. So I thought, I'll be a smart guy and I'll tack SC at the end of everything.
Of course.
Can't go wrong. Can't fail. Right? Guaranteed to work and always in the future be good because I'm going to be a StarCraft caster. So I tried that for about a year and a half, 2 years. Not really a lot of success. It was a little dabbling stuff with it. It was fun. It was a lot of work. And at the end, I was like, all right, this just isn't working out. So I dropped it. I went away from streaming and everything. I went and started lifting and getting big and all of that. And then one day I was like, maybe this big muscle life isn't for me. Maybe I need to go back to just playing video games.
Yeah, that's always the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Always the answer. And so I went and watched SigLemic. He was actually the first person I watched coming back to Twitch. And I was like, yo, what is this? And I was watching it and I was like, this is the most boring thing ever. He's just doing the same exact stuff over and over again.
Wow.
But I couldn't stop watching. So I honestly was amazed. I was sitting there and I was like, I keep coming back every day though. For some reason I want to watch this. And then I was like, should I do this? And I thought I couldn't do it because I can't do the same run over and over again. And so then I went and I watched some Cosmo runs and stuff. And it was the same idea. I was fascinated. But at the end of the day, I was like, it's the same stuff. Like it's the same motions and movements and frame perfect tricks and all that stuff. And it just, at that time, didn't appeal to me.
Interesting.
Then I was sitting there and I was on Twitch and I was like, oh, there's a browse feature. And I played tons of Diablo 2 growing up, Diablo 2 and StarCraft didn't work out. So I was like, forget that. So I went, I was like, I'll look at StarCraft or Diablo 2 just to see if there's any streamers. And there weren't really, but there was a couple guys. There was Nightfall and a couple other guys who were pretty small that were just playing Diablo 2, and Nightfall was speedrunning it. And I watched him play through, and he ran a sorceress in like an hour 45 minutes, and that was the world record at the time for a normal.
And
sorceress.
what year was this again? At this time,
I think it was 3 years ago.
Okay.
So you more or less started
2015, 2014 end.
Okay.
So I went and I watched it, and I was like, okay, this is like interesting, because it was completely different. One, it was a game I knew really, really well because I played it all the time. But additionally, you start off, and this is the whole topic of today that we'll be discussing. The RNG in the game was insane. But I remember I watched it through and I thought, that doesn't look that hard. I could beat that time. I should run this game. So I sat down and I studied for about a week, and I probably have the notes somewhere. I had like 9 pages of written notes that I'd taken of like
goodness
map layouts that I'd kind of seen, and where all the symbols were in Act 2 for all of the tombs to go into, and build orders and all sorts of stuff. I did all this prep for it, and I was like, I'm gonna go get the world record. And I ran my first run in 4 hours and 28 minutes.
That's how it goes, though.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and I went, maybe this is a little bit harder than I thought it was gonna be. But at that point, I was already sucked in. I'd taken all the notes, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go keep trying on this, and went from there. So that's kind of my introduction into Diablo 2 speedrunning.
I see. So you're still running Diablo right now. What's going on in Diablo? What's your current goals here? What do you think it can be pushed to? Current record, your record.
Okay. So current record,
90%, right? Normal.
Yeah. So there's 28 different runs within Diablo 2 that we currently have set out right now, which is a lot.
That is a lot.
Because you have your softcore and your hardcore, and you have 7
Right.
characters, right? And then you have hell runs and normal runs. So some of them could kind of overlap if you really wanted. Some of them aren't run very often. But me and one other runner kind of really pushed a lot of the runs down. And then additionally, when another guy came in, right, Katsukato, he started bringing hardcore runs in as well to really the mix. So we've kind of added runs as we've gone along. But it's been really interesting. So to kind of get back to what you're saying, right now, I'm trying to make a push at a lot of the records. So I'm just trying to kind of bounce between them. Because a really important thing is to practice. If you want to get a record on a specific character, you need to kind of practice that character and get in the flow of
naturally,
how that character plays.
Makes sense.
If you sit there and just bounce between character, it's a lot harder because you don't get in the feel, get in the rhythm of a specific, just this one character. So
they all play pretty different, right?
Yeah. So a lot of them play pretty differently. And when you're going for world records, it's the little things that really add up, and so it's, you're going to read maps the same and stuff, but how you handle teleporting on a sorceress versus making sure to always be recasting your burst of speed at the, at the perfect time, so you're not running short on that for an assassin, whatever it is, that's very important, right? So I'm trying to kind of get back into that mode where I'm focusing more in on characters and running for those times rather than just bouncing around having fun with them, because that's where you start losing some minutes, and so it gets a little crazy. So the character that I'm currently running this week is the 80% normal sorceress, which is the fastest character in the game, and so the record, yeah, exactly, because teleport. And it used to not be like that, actually. About a year and a half ago, Sorceress finally overtook the Assassin. The Assassin was the
Really?
fastest because you don't get teleport till late in the game. And we just weren't fast enough early on to make up that difference. But now we're so fast in the early game that once you get teleport, and then it's over. So, I'm trying to run that. There was a time, there's a controversy in the D2 community at the moment of a runner who had the fastest time and then has removed all of his times and videos and everything.
Why do people do this?
no.
This is a recurring thing that's going
Yeah.
on here in the speedrunning community. I don't understand what this is about.
I'm not sure. I wish I had good information on it. He's yeah. I don't even want to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
But those times have been revoked and removed. So currently the world record is 1 hour 19 minutes 10 seconds,
Mhm.
and I have 1 hour 19 minutes 19 seconds, I think.
Oh, that's so close.
9 seconds. Yeah, I'm 10 seconds off.
Wow,
And
that's
it
crazy.
was awful because I could have been faster than it, but like at the very end, I had like a tiny RNG thing that cost me like 20 seconds. So, at the time, it wasn't going to put me in the world record because that other guy was ahead of it. But now that it's been revoked, I'm like, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to rerun at that time, and it's been a little hectic, a little crazy, but it's fun.
Does it get stressful running such an RNG dependent game? Is it like Pokemon in that sense? Do you feel like it's that much RNG?
I think it's way more RNG than Pokemon.
Wow,
Really?
that's crazy. That's a lot of RNG.
I guess because
Oh my
it's
God.
always happening. Like you're always dealing with Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's more like you're looking for a couple things, but
Right.
Diablo, it's like you need to get all your loot, all
Right.
your whatever.
So my question
Everything.
is, if it's so much RNG, does it kind of encourage you to go with the flow and kind of want to finish more runs in that sense, because you know that you can't really control the amount of RNG. Well, that's why it's RNG. That's going to be in the run. So you just kind of go with the flow and be like, all right, you know what? Fine, this run can't world record anymore. Or is it that bad that if the RNGs it's not good enough, you just can't world record anymore?
That's the more common.
Right. Is it really bad in a sense where if the RNG isn't really, really, really good, you can't world record? Or is it more lenient?
No, it's at that point. And it's
Oh man.
it can be even more so. I mean, I'm going to just go through a list of a few things right now to kind of describe the RNG in Diablo 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hit me with it.
Because it's stupid. So it's an ARPG, right? I'm going to kind of try and explain it broadly for Cheese because he hasn't played this game.
Right, yeah, I need to know. I don't understand what you guys have
for-
been going on for like the past 10
That'll
minutes.
help the audience too,
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
it a little
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you start out, you have a character who is naked and is level 1 with no skills.
So kind of like Dark Souls beginning, I guess.
Yes, very similar.
All right.
So you start out and that's just it.
Hmm.
And already your map that you start on has 4 possibilities. So you could just the starting map could have an exit in any direction. In the northwest, the directions are kind of like angled. So northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. You could have an exit in any one of those directions. And not only that, but like the time it takes to get out of that can vary. If I have an exit in the top right corner, it takes 4 seconds to leave town. Bottom right corner, it takes 11 seconds to leave town because I have to cross
Oh
a
my
bridge.
goodness.
Wow.
Where your waypoint is within the town itself can be a factor, right? Such as, is it next to Charcy? Is it next to Akara, which are like NPCs that sell different things? So already starting off, the game doesn't come down to this is why you get some weird things where you have like minutes ahead of world records things, because RNG is so crazy in it. So that's like your start. What you do is you run out of town, and now you have an undiscovered map ahead of you that you don't know how it looks. You can kind of know in the event that the way maps work in the game This will be a whole other thing. We just had a maps discussion. It was 20 minutes yesterday on my stream.
Wow.
But the way it works is you have some maps that are presets, such as the town has 4 preset maps. You have some maps that are world areas, such as if you head out into that, your opening land, that's going to be kind of a world area, and how it's built is going to be built specifically using different tile sets that it'll piece together. And then you have dungeons or mazes, which are like when you enter into a cave or into any of those areas, and those build, and it's procedurally generated. So it takes pieces from a database, right? It says, here's your tile set. You've got all these tiles with all of these exits and entrances and crossways and whatever for each tile, and it will just piece together a map. But you don't get to see that map, right? You have to discover that map as you run around. So just in exploration, there is already a huge factor of RNG, right?
Yeah.
And one perfect example is the Arcane Sanctuary. It is a place where you enter, and it looks like, let me see if I can like build a circle in the middle. Yeah, I'm gonna try and this is gonna be difficult.
Good enough visual demonstration here.
Yeah,
this is what I like.
Visual demo for you guys. This would be like the second route, the third route, and then I only made 3 routes. But pretend there is a 4th route coming up. Maybe I can do this. Look at this is gonna be the most beautiful.
This guy knows it's origami. This guy's a legend.
Origami. Right, this is the Arcane Sanctuary. You start right at the center of it, and there are 4 pathways leading off. Each one goes to its own like large, long pathway. And at the end of one of those random pathways, and there is literally no way to tell which way it is, because we have tried and studied everything in the world. At the end of one of those pathways is the summoner and the exit to that map. So sometimes you first weigh it, you guess it the right way, boom, you're great. Other times you have to go all 4 ways to get out.
How long does it take to go in each different way to
It depends what character you have, but usually about a minute to 2.5.
Oh my god, that's crazy. So is that like the
like a 5-second thing?
Is that the reset point, the main reset point in every run, basically?
It can be. So so this is where, once again, more RNG. Let's add more RNG to it, because it's already not enough.
Might as well. Just throw it on there.
We've already discussed maps a little bit, and there's some directional knowledge within a map that you can gain, such as if I enter a map facing this way, I know that I have to exit it facing this way on this specific map. However,
really?
Yeah, so certain maps will have, because it's the way the tile sets are chosen. The entrance map, if it's chosen this way, it will choose an exit path that's like this, right? However, just because it's here doesn't mean it's right here. It could be all the way below, in which case you have to go up, over, down, and then over to get to the, like, it doesn't mean it's always just like that, right?
It's crazy.
It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, so that's just like your basic map stuff. And some maps, there isn't any pattern. You just have to kind of know tile sets. So you'll be running and you'll see a specific tile and you'll know that it's going to lead to a dead end shortly. So you turn around. So there's a lot of like that sort of memorization that you're kind of thinking about constantly as you're looking at it.
Wow.
But getting to more further RNG, you now have leveling. And this is a huge piece that a lot of people don't understand how much it affects it. Because it's not something that it's something where, like, yesterday I was 5 minutes under world record pace, but I was so under leveled that I was actually not 5 minutes under world record pace. Just because I got to the Arcane Sanctuary 5 minutes earlier than the world record did made zero difference, because I was so under leveled with experience that I have to focus, because you have to be level 20 to finish the game, or 21 is where you'll actually finish on normal. You have to be level 20 to complete the second to last quest in the game, which is killing these 3 ancients at the top of the mountain, right? Essentially, so you go up the mountain, you kill these 3 ancients. If you're not level 20, it won't let you pass. So you have to get to level 20 by that point in the game. So gaining experience through the entire game is extremely important because you need to make sure that you have that level at that point. Now, what is it? Is it easy to just get experience, just kill things on the way? No. You have to be focusing on what boss monsters you're looking for, what if you're finding any experience shrines, which will increase the experience that you're getting, the monster density, what types of monsters are even spawning. So, for instance, in the Far Oasis, which is one area, you can spawn beetles, which give lots of experience and are very, very good and are pretty easy to die. They can kill you easily because they've got charged bolts they release. Or you can spawn stupid birds and maggots, which are mediocre and not very good, and won't give you a lot of experience. So if you walk into your Far Oasis and you don't have that, you don't have beetles, all right, well, now it's going to be a little bit more difficult, right? Now you're going to have to find that experience elsewhere. If you find boss groups and their minions, bosses and their minions, these are like the unique champ packs, give 500% experience. Champions give 300% experience. So finding those can be super critical, and that's like what you want to kind of focus on. But once again, that's RNG.
Wow.
Do they spawn? Maybe not. I mean, that's, you try and get them to spawn. You hope they'll spawn.
And you guys know, you guys have no idea how the spawns work, or if you guys know for sure it's completely RNG.
Yeah, it's RNG. So maps will have tendencies to spawn bosses in similar spots. However, it's not always going to happen. But once again, when you're fresh exploring a game, I mean, if that spot tends to have a boss, you don't know that until you get there, and then now you've killed it and now it's done. So the only thing you could maybe do is reset that whole map to respawn the monsters and maybe have a chance at getting that boss again.
Is that how it works? As soon as you exit and come back in, that'll refresh the whole...
Yes, when you exit and come back in, all monsters, all items, all shrines, everything like that will respawn with whatever. So shrines will change. So that's a big piece of it as well. A shrine, you have all different types of shrines: fire shrines, cold resist shrines, portals shrines, gem shrines, whatever. And there's an experience shrine, which is one of them, like I said, which gives 150% experience. And so you want to find as many of those as you can. They're amazing. So sometimes if you have a couple of experience shrines or a couple of shrines near a waypoint, you'll reset the game multiple times to try and get one, because that's that's how big of an impact it can have. And that's how much you'll focus on that and go for it to try and get experience. So it's kind of insane. And this is where you get to the, I can't just, be a mindless random game Super Mario 64 runner or something,
right. Those guys are like, God, there's some nincompoops over there.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
feel
Awful.
those kind of people.
Hate it.
Awful. Yeah, terrible. but no, like you can't just sit there and go, I know what's optimal, because you have to take chances and take risks, right? You have to sit there and go, is it better for me to try and get an experience shrine from one of these two shrines at this distance? It's going to cost me 20 seconds every time I try and exit, go to the waypoint, go to those shrines, exit, go back. How many times is that optimal? What is the, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? If I find it on first time, is it worth it? If I find it on the fifth time, is it now not worth it? It's so hard to find answers for all of this stuff because you just don't have, there's just no perfect, because so much RNG exists in it.
Yeah.
Another layer. Let's keep going, because
keep it going. You're on a hot streak right now. Just tell me more. I'm really liking it.
There's items in the game, right? Oh my gosh, you can wear things for your character. There's things like boots, which have faster run walk on them sometimes. That seems like it could be useful in a speed run. Are you gonna get it? Who knows? You can try your chance at imbuing some boots, which is going through a quest and getting boots and imbuing them. And it gives you like a 1 in 8, or I think it's even worse. I think it's like 1 in 12 chance of getting 10 faster run walk on them.
Wow.
Which
is like worse than Dampe.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like you might get them. You get one shot at it. Cool. You can also try and shop for them if you would like, but you might be resetting for 5 minutes trying to shop for them. At that point, maybe it's not worth it anymore. There's unique items in the game that can drop, or those boots could drop at any point. But there's also unique items that could drop that have like 20% faster unlock on them, 40% faster unlock on them. Are you going to get that? You got like a 1 in 1,000 chance maybe from it dropping from that boss.
Oh my god.
Okay, like, so all of these things are constantly, and that's just faster unlock boots. Now we have other things like faster cast rate, right? So what this does is allows you to cast spells faster. Seems pretty important, right? If you're trying to kill monsters around you, being able to cast things faster will help you out. If you're able to teleport on a sorceress, if you can teleport faster, you're going to move faster. So finding that can be really important. Do you get it? Maybe, maybe not. There's also things like faster hit recovery, how quickly you recover when something hits you. That can be on items. Items that'll give you plus to life. So if a monster hits me and deals more than 1/12 of my maximum health, which is 8%, 8.33 whatever percent of my maximum health, I'll get stunned. And on a sorceress, that is a point. So every frame in the game is 0.04 seconds. And I believe it's 15 frames for a sorceress at 0 faster hit recovery. So that right there is 0.6 seconds. If I get stunned, that I can't do anything if a monster deals more than 8% of my health. So if I can stack life or get things that add to life, charms, blood fist gloves, whatever it is, that can increase my life total so that I don't go into that stun when I get hit, right? Or if I can find things that have faster hit recovery, all of a sudden, now it's only like 10 frames and it's 0.4 seconds that I'm stunned instead of 0.6. And when you add up every time that you get hit and stunned over the game, that turns into a lot of. So this is the game. And even monsters, attacks, and bosses. Bale is the final boss in the game. He has, I'm trying to think how many attacks he has. He's got just his regular attack. He can summon tentacles. He will do a cold attack, a fire attack, a mana burn breath, and he can clone himself. And when he clones himself, that's the worst thing ever. Because basically you just have to take 30 seconds to like run away to a corner, go to town, run out of the place, come back in, and it'll despawn his clone. Otherwise, you're fighting 2 Bales, and it's kind of a real pain in the butt and usually costs you more time than it's worth. So does he spawn himself a lot? Is he constantly jumping around? Because he can also teleport. So he might teleport around on you, or he'll stand still and just be dumb for a while and you can do a lot of damage. Your chance to hit if you're a melee character, right? Melee characters have to go through a calculation for if they're going to hit something. And when you get to someone like Bale, your chance to hit is like 30%, right? It's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's real bad. So you just go, you're just like swinging, and then every now and then you'll get a hit. Now you also have to look at.
Is it the same for spells?
Spells, no, spells are 100%. It's melee's broken stupid in the game. Very dumb, needs to be fixed. So you're sitting there swinging, you get a hit off. Let's say you have an item that has a 20% chance of adding crushing blow, which would do a percentage of their health, and it's very good. Ooh. Now you have that into effect. How many times is that proccing? I could go on. I will call it there because we've kind of covered so many
that's crazy. But you know what? You know what I got from that too is that the idea of like a Mario 64, for example, where it's a game where it's basically no RNG compared to a game like Diablo. And so it basically is the same thing you're doing all the time. But a game like Diablo, because of all this RNG and all these possibilities, it makes it feel like you're having a new experience every time. And you have to always think about, okay, what do I have to do? You have to think quick. Do I do this? Do I this? And depending on the situation that occurs, so it's always like a new experience, which can be always fun no matter what, because you can never get tired of it. There's always something new, which I think is great.
Yeah. That is the most fun piece of it for sure, is that you're constantly thinking, right? There's never a point. I mean, there's some times where, if you're just like running, you're like, okay, I know to run. But you're always looking at map tiles and going, do I know this tile and do I need to alter my course? Whenever you look at an item, you get really good at reading items. So you can look at an item and within a tenth of a second, honestly, about that amount of time, I can read all 6 attributes and know if I want to keep it or not, right? Like,
Oh my God.
my mouse can literally scroll past an item and I will know if I want to put that item on or not put that item on. But that's the stuff you have to think about it. I don't know, your eyes pick up, I know all the attributes that I want, and my eyes pick up all of the
it's just knowing the game by knowing the game by heart. That's
exactly.
That's so cool.
So you just know it by heart. But it's not something, before you look at the item, you don't know what it has on it. So it's one of those, you have to make a quick thought and go, is this better or not? And every now and then you go, is this better? And you take like a second and you're like, I don't know. Like, I think it might be. And sometimes
you're doing that on the move.
Sometimes you make the wrong choices.
Yeah. You're doing it on the move. And a lot of times that's the thing, is you'll be running and doing it. So you'll just have to do it split second there. Or just, so you're always making decisions. But the crappy part, and what is actually over the past 6 months, I've developed, or maybe a little longer. I was watching something like your stream and stuff like that, and I developed the thought of, it would be really, really nice to be able to speedrun a game and always be able to get a world record. Or like 90% of the time, 90, whatever. If I'm running perfectly, I can get a world record. Because I've had times in Diablo 2 where I go for 8 hours and I don't even finish a single run. I don't even get out of Act 2 because the RNG has been so bad that I just have to keep resetting. Like, I'll be playing perfectly. I'll be clicking super fast, precise, so much accuracy. I'm making great decisions, and it doesn't matter because not every map set, not every game can be a world record.
That's what I was worrying about. Yeah, it's
a lot of them actually cannot be a world record.
It's crazy, yeah.
So, and it's because you have to make so many decisions along the way, right? You have to sit there, and when you come to a fork, you have to decide, do I go left or right? And if you make the wrong choice on that, which you just have to choose, there's not always this is the, always the way. You just got to say, well, my odds say I should go this way. Or, this is, I have to take a 50-50 shot at it. And sometimes you roll the dice and you keep crapping out, that's it. Like,
wow.
And so, that stuff drives me crazy a little bit. Sometimes I'm like, I just want a game that
that would drive me crazy.
Well.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is what I gotta say on RNG mostly. What you got, Simply?
A question. You brought up, like, for the first time I heard that point in like a positive light. When you were talking about Siglemic and Cosmo, you were like, they're just doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel when I've seen that, I see that, like, that's a thing you'll hear in the community. And usually I'll hear that and I'll be like, oh, that person doesn't speedrun, or like they don't get it.
Yeah.
But you're like obviously very much into speedrunning, but it's just the game for you.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool. So would you recommend Diablo 2 as a speed game for people that think speedrunning is like they're too much of the same thing, like games like Mario? And
so I wanted to show it in a negative light first and then the positive light. I wanted to show my transformation because when I started, I thought exactly like everybody else did with it. I was like, this is dumb. They're doing the exact same stuff. He's going jump, dive, turn right, jump. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But now I can respect it and appreciate it so much because I'm like, oh my gosh, you get to like challenge yourself and always have that potential, which I don't always have that potential, right? If you want to have a game that has variety and difference and all that stuff, you're not going to have the ability to always have that world record. So it's a trade-off. So I think that's like if you sit there and you look at, Mario 64, Legend of Zelda, whatever it is, and you go, this is too similar. They're doing the same stuff. I want a game that changes, but I can speedrun. Diablo 2 is the game. I don't think there's any game out there being speedrun right now that has more RNG than Diablo 2. And that's maybe a bold claim, but
that is kind of a bold claim, but I mean, everything you said, it's so much that you have to memorize. It's like Pokemon. It's like, okay, the technical aspect, I don't know, menuing, I'm sure it's hard, but other than that, there's not much thinking on the move. Like once you have what you have, you're good. But Diablo, it's like just a constant battle to find what works. So do you have to be weighing options often? Do you usually have an option between like wearing this glove or this glove? Like
all the time.
What's the most desirable traits, I guess, you're looking for in items?
So it depends the character. We'll just stick with a sorceress for now. So the biggest thing is faster cast rate. I want to have, the game has frames, right? The game runs at 25 FPS. And which is people today are like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
but it is literally built into the game. It's not like I'm just running it at 25. That is how the game is built. So like I said before, a frame's 0.04 seconds. And characters have frames for how long it takes for them to make an action. Such as if I go into faster hit recovery as a sorceress, it takes me 15 frames, assuming I have 0 faster hit recovery. If I have 1 faster hit recovery, it still takes me 15 frames. If I have 2 faster hit recovery, it still takes me 15 frames. 3, still. 4 faster hit recovery, it now takes me 14 frames. So it is literally frame, like it goes up by a frame for each bump. But what this means is that not always adding to a trait will get you the next frame adjustment, right? So if I have faster cast rate, if I have 20 faster cast rate, I cast at, I'm going to say 11. I can't remember exactly the frames per second that you cast at. 10 frames per second. If I have 35 faster cast rate, I'll still be casting at 10 frames per second on a sorceress. Other characters have different places, right? So that might bump up a frame for a different character. But on a sorceress, 20 and 35 are the exact same because the next bump is at 37 faster cast rate. That's where I would go down to 9 frames per second or whatever it exactly is. And 1 frame doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is a ton. In a game that only moves at 25 FPS, 1 frame actually really helps a lot.
Dude, it adds up. It really does.
So looking for things like faster cast rate rings or amulets that I can then use to get me to that 40, because it goes in tens in this case, you know, to get me from 35 to 40 or whatever it is, 45, whatever it is there, to get past that 37, super interesting. Beyond that, I want to find faster rate recovery, of course, to increase the amount of frames so I get stunned less. I want to find life. Plus to life is amazing. Plus to mana or plus to energy can also be really nice because that can just make it so I can cast more spells, teleport longer, whatever it is before my mana runs out. There is, and going with RNG even, really quick back to that, things like life potions and mana potions even have RNG built into them. There's a chance based on how much energy you have and vitality you have that your potion will double its the amount and the speed that it regens. And it can be nice, but it can also screw you over. Because, for instance, if you're in a late stage teleporting and you get a double potion, it'll fill up your mana too quickly, which will then burn the potion out. As soon as your mana tops, it'll stop regenning. Oh, really? And so you want to kind of exist in a state where it's like halfway but trying to recover. But if you get a double, it'll fill it up. And so that's like more stupid RNG that can exist. But anyways, going back to it. I want to look for resistances. That's a huge thing in the game. The game has a lot of balance around having decent resistances so that I can deal with, specific kinds of monsters. So for instance, fire resistances are the most important in normal. You want to go to Act 4 and there's these dudes that breathe fire, and even in Act 3 there's guys that breathe fire and they can just melt you like that. Having fire resist if you've got it like topped off, they're barely going to do any damage to you. So you want to look for items that have those sorts of things.
Right.
I mean, those are the main things that I'm looking for, but I'll also consider other little mods as they come and stuff. If there's obviously things like +2 skills of the character can be super helpful. So one of the greatest things early on for a sorceress is if you can get something that's got +2 charge bolt, because you have such a low level of charge bolt that adding even a couple levels can really speed up for just like really early game stuff.
So are you following the same build every time, or is it dependent on what items you get? You might choose a different skill for like offensive.
Following the same build. It's
Okay.
there's not enough. I don't think there's anything that could make me change my build, because it just wouldn't. The builds are more effective than any item could change, I would say.
Okay.
There's like maybe rare exceptions, maybe, but even then it wouldn't be that much of a change. So you're generally sticking 99.9% of the time with the same builds.
So you think Diablo 2 is one of the games, one type of game that you really have to play for a long time to really get to know, for you to be able to get a good time in?
Yeah, I'd say that's for sure. And I mean, it depends how much you grind and how much you study and all of that stuff. Honestly, I think it might be even more difficult in a game like Mario 64 or something to, like, if I wanted to run a world record in Super Mario 64, I think it would take me longer than if I wanted to run a record in Diablo 2. Reason being is this knowledge, you can pound a lot of it in pretty quickly, and then if you take 4, 5, 6 months, you're gonna eventually just get to that point where you just know you can look at any item, everything like that. And then at that point, a lot of it'll come to RNG, right? Like the top runners, if I race against the other top runner in the game who's 10 seconds ahead of me, if we have 100 races, we're probably going to split pretty well on them for a majority of the time. But if we race with anybody else in the community that's currently running, it's going to be mostly a blowout, but there will still be times that they will be faster than us, right?
Yeah, just because of RNG.
Just because of RNG. It's that big where I could draw a map that is so far apart. Like there's one point where you need to go and collect certain runes. That's RNG that they drop, of course. And you need to go and collect these runes from the Countess. So you're doing Countess runs over and over again. And if you have a good map for that, in the tower, all of the tower levels, there's 5 of them, plus where your waypoint is in relation to it, plus the amount of shrines that are near your waypoint and on the way. If you have really good there, that can save minutes and minutes and minutes, as opposed to if it's opposite sides of the map and there's like nothing good.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. So, I mean, that right there can make it, it depends. But how far up they can, how good somebody is. Like I'm always going to beat someone who runs a 145, for a sorceress. If
Could
you
be
can
close, maybe one really, really bad RNG. Could you get such bad RNG that you're like,
that'd be pretty tough. I'd say at this point, I'm not going to be running much under or over 130 something. 130 low, I think at this point, if I'm really running, is going to probably be where I'm 135 maybe is probably the like max that I'm going to run at this time. So if you're, if your record is, if the fastest you've ever run is 135, you're never going to beat me. But if the fastest you've run is 125, all right, we're going to get some overlaps now. And so, and I just think with the amount of RNG and the amount of spreads that you can get on times, right? While this time is 10 seconds apart, we've got other times that are 5 minutes apart, 7 minutes apart, because something, you could go get an experience shrine, go to the far oasis and find 2 champion beetle packs waiting for you, and instantly right there you might save 5 minutes just from that experience shrine plus those 2 champion beetle packs, because you'll get a level and a half of experience, and that would have taken you 5 minutes to get otherwise.
So let's say the God RNG. What time is
God
possible?
RNG. So there's actually people that they do segmented runs, right? So basically they try and create a perfect run. They go and they get it, and they will pick exactly how the map is. And because there's like 56,000 maps or something, technically. Like,
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Something like that. So they'll pick which one they want that they think might be a good one, and then they will do a segmented run where they just pick like 12-second segments together to make everything perfect. So they might farm the boss 1,000 times, right? Every time they enter level 4, so they'll go. Let's say we're at that boss already. They go to the boss and they start a new segment, and they run and kill the boss. And if it doesn't drop the item they want, they go to the reset to the start of that segment and do it again. And after 1,000 times, that boss finally drops the item that they want. They'll pick that item up, go to town, and that'll be the next segment that they've saved in.
Right.
Okay. So you're literally building perfect RNG into it, and you can just constantly, change any of that because you're constantly allowed to make it a little bit, faster
Right.
by getting the perfect RNG. And I think like there's a run out there that's like 58 minutes or something with the assassin.
Wow.
With the assassin. If we did perfect RNG with the sorceress, we could probably be low 50s, would be my assumption.
Damn.
But like that is literally
thousands and run
yeah for one like 10-second segment.
That's crazy.
And stupid things like that.
Yeah.
So
just not realistic at all. But...
never viable. Like not even remotely
but
realistic.
Maybe you might have that.
I mean, it is possible. It is possible.
It's not though, because the amount of things technically sure, but the amount of things that you do in that run that are stupid, like that you would go back and go to that one shrine every time and reset. I mean, it's just the moves that you would make in it because you just know where that thing is on the map, even though that's not the correct way that you would normally run because the odds are against you. Like you're always going to run with the odd. So it's just, I would say the fastest that anybody will ever run this game. And this is a bold statement because I have made this statement before and been proven wrong. When it was above 120, I was shocked if we could get it below 120. When we were at like 127, a 122 was like the fastest I thought the game could be. And now we're at 119s. But the fastest I think the game will ever be is sub 110. I think 109XX is the fastest anybody's going to ever run this. And I would love to see somebody run it faster than that.
Because otherwise you think it would just be a ridiculous amount of chance.
It's just like so, and that right there, I even feel crazy saying. That's literally 10 minutes faster than the fastest I've ever run this game, which is like 10 minutes. You think, oh my God, 10 minutes in Super Mario 64 is the difference between you and probably if I ran it, not
a task.
But yeah, like, I mean, it's the difference between, somebody who's not good at the game at all and you. And
like 300 places above.
Right. 300 people.
Something insane like that.
Yeah. Not that much.
Maybe not that.
100 and 150. 100. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. 100 something.
It's
a number. It's definitely a number.
Yeah.
For 70 story.
Yeah.
It's a number. Yeah.
And
a big one.
And in Diablo 2, I'm sitting there saying the fastest runner right now is 10 minutes slower than potential time. I mean, do you think a 128 is possible in
Yeah. Just gotta practice a little more.
Yeah, and just a little bit more practice.
I mean, what is
start BLJing everywhere?
Just give us like 1 year.
What are Taz runs in?
The Taz 120 star is 120.41.
120.41?
Yeah.
Holy.
But
crap.
if you look at the Taz, you'd see why, and you'd see why.
Is it like?
It's just all BLJs.
It's just BLJing everywhere.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well then, yeah. So impossible.
The ideal run though, it's a tasked RTA run with all the RTS strats. That is 132.
Okay, there you go. So that's 5 minutes. So I'm saying I think another 5 minutes
6
coming
minutes.
off of that. Not even,
Yeah.
or 6 minutes, sorry. I'm saying add even more onto it.
Yeah.
And that's not even with like a bot. That's you got to run it
Right.
yourself. Like it just, but I think it is. And that's how much RNG has a factor in the game. And yeah, just, I don't know.
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. It's a different game.
Do you think
So-
do you think Diablo 2 is literally a good contestant in the most RNG speedrun there is?
I think it is the most RNG speedrun there is.
Really? Wow.
I will put it at number one. I have yet to see somebody bring me a game that has more RNG than Diablo 2 in speedrunning.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
I saw somebody mention Mario Party, but even thinking about Mario Party, it's like
That doesn't seem that bad at all. I mean, Mario Party has the thing about Mario Party is like not many factors of RNG. Maybe there's a lot of RNG, but not
Right.
many factors compared to Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is a whole
Right.
world of factors and different situations.
it's RNG the game, dude.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
RNG the game. Yeah.
That's
So go ahead.
no. You go ahead.
So far, how many records have you gotten? Like I last week were you doing? Well, last week you were skiing, but the week before that were you doing Barbarian? Was it
Yeah, so I
Barbarian?
got the barb record. I got the hardcore normal barb record, which is an annoying one
Okay.
and also has, once again, stupid chance of RNG to where it could be really good. So there's like I talked about before, there's crushing blow. What this does is it deals 1/12 of the monster's HP. Okay.
Even bosses?
I think it's 1/12. I think it's 1/12 for bosses, and maybe let me look really fast.
Okay, Google.
Because it's 20, yeah. So, or 1/8, sorry. Versus normal enemies, and then versus a boss. Versus normal enemies, it's 1/4. Versus a boss, it's 1/8.
1/8. Okay.
And so what it does is it does that. And when you have a barbarian, let's say the Bale fight takes 8.5 minutes to kill the final boss. And that's because I have this stupid, terrible attack rating and whatever. And I'm trying to just damage him regularly. I'm trying to do poison damage and life drain basically on him from open wounds and let those kind of tick down. That takes about 8.5 minutes. If you give me an item with crushing blow on it, probably about 2.5 minutes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Wow.
and there's that boss, plus the boss before takes about 5 minutes to kill, probably. And the boss before that, you could probably also gain some on it. So just finding one item that has crushing blow, which only spawns on unique items, by the way, certain ones. Just finding one of those items could save about 13 minutes in a run. And so it's like, okay,
Oh my
but
god.
but that character also has so many stupid things to find that even if you find that item with crushing blow, if you don't find all those other things that you need, you're gonna have to reset anyways. And that's how dumb this game can be. Right
Crazy
there.
stuff.
That you could
So-
go and find that item, which is a 1 in 123 drop chance from the first boss. That's the like main one, but there's also a couple others which have worse drop chances. You could find it and still have to reset anyways because RNG was so bad against you. And that's maybe a 10 to 13 minute item save.
Did you
Crazy
get
stuff.
that item in the record?
No. So
Oh,
if
wow.
somebody
So,
so if somebody tries it and finds that item, then it's like, do I want to try and fight for this record now? Do I have to find the item to go just to beat this record? Probably. So there's certain things that make it kind of like, or there's an item that's a 1 in 1,000 drop chance, I think. Titans for the Amazon. I think it's 1 in 1,000 from normal Bale. And of course it can drop at any other point in the game. Chances are like, horrible, 1 in 20,000 from a regular monster, or whatever stuff.
not too bad.
But yeah, but a guy found
Just a 3-digit
this.
number.
A guy found this item off of normal Bale, which is, like I said, I think 1 in 1,000 drop. And then this was a hell run. and he finished the game in like 6 hours 30 minutes or something. And it's like I mean, that item alone probably saved 40 minutes. So now it's like, do you want to compete with that record? Go find that item. Good luck.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's technically 40 minutes, but it's a lot of I mean, it does a lot of damage. It gives you maybe
What does that item do
20
for
to
the Amazon?
plus. So it gives faster run walk first off.
Okay.
I think it's 30. Let me look just to make sure. I think it's 30 faster run walk, plus 2 to javelin skills, plus 2 to Amazon skills, plus 2 to javelin and spear skills. So you get plus 4 to your javelin and spear skills, which is so much damage. It adds an 150 to 200% enhanced damage on top of already good damage, so that you can actually go and just do like melee damage against certain monsters that are immune instead of having to deal with them other ways. Gives you strength, it gives you dexterity, and it replenishes the quantity over time. So as you throw them and walk around, they'll replenish instead of constantly having to go back to town and repair them.
Oh my goodness.
So, and your max stack is also really nice at 140. So just having that alone, between everything, saves so much time.
Wow.
And those are that right there makes a dumb run. When you find that item in that run, it's like, all right, well, now the run's stupid. And I think that is probably the most broken find that you can find on any character in a speed run. Just because of what they give you overall.
So is there an item like that for the sorceress?
No. Nothing that I would say is exactly like that. In a hell run, you could argue maybe the Oculus, which gives you faster cast rate, plus energy vitality, and gives you like 3 to sorceress skills and stuff. But even still, I don't know if it adds quite what Titans adds. And there's stuff below that still can be really good. You can find a plus 2 to sorceress skills with 20 faster cast rate orb. You can find, like, there's still a lot of other things that you can find that are very helpful and will do a lot, but aren't. I think the issue is Titans has nothing right below it that can compete exactly.
So what? Okay, I don't understand what is a hell run and what is it? There are hell runs and then there are like normal runs?
So hell runs take anywhere from about 4 to 10 hours, depending which character you're running.
Oh, okay.
God. Oh Lord.
Yeah,
So they're
okay. They're the big mamas. So the way Diablo works is you beat normal. There's normal, nightmare, and hell, 3 difficulties, and it's the same thing, but they just make everything harder.
So
right?
It's a difficulty thing. Okay.
Yeah, difficulty goes up. Your resistances go down. You get penalties, and all of the monsters will start to like gain more immunities and things like that. So it just becomes harder.
Right. Okay.
What is the level you have to be to finish hell?
61.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
So is that where most of the time comes from? Is there a lot of farming in a hell run just for XP?
A little bit, not as much as you might think, I would say. You're severely underleveled. Like, that's even 61 is still like amazingly underleveled. Most people are finishing Nightmare, around that time.
Wow.
So, yeah. But like, you just there is farming though. That's always the thing. You're always having to balance when you're getting experience with, because a big piece is you can't always, let's say that I'm level 40. If I killed stuff that was level 70, I could get tons of experience. But I can't kill stuff that's level 70. I don't have the power, right? So you have to find the balance of what can I kill, what's going to give me the most experience, and also, like, am I continuing to run with the game or am I stopping to do this? And is that detrimental? So there's some places that you're farming for experience. It just really varies. And an even worse part of that is before level 25, you actually get a penalty for killing monsters that are too high level. So you have to stop and farm in some specific areas if you're doing a hell run before you move forward. Otherwise, you're going to get 0 experience because the game gives just a huge penalty to you, like a massive penalty. Like you only get 5% experience.
Wow.
So I was watching yesterday, and you were talking about a penalty. Do you get those penalties in normal at all too? Can
So
you
those
get them
penalties
anywhere?
apply, but yeah. So I think the penalty I was talking about, you can get the penalties anywhere. So if a monster is within 5 levels of your level, in either way, you're going to get 100% experience. Then at
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9, you're going to get less and less experience. So it's like, 60%, 48%, 30%, whatever it is, 24%. And then at 10 on either side, plus or minus, you're going to get 5% experience. But then once you hit level 25, the penalty up top goes away. And only the penalty below remains. So, but in a normal run, you finish at level 21. So you're always having to be aware of your level and wanting to kill within, you always want to be within an area that's within that 5 levels. Otherwise, you're going to get less experience.
And you don't get that information. You just know it from like databases or people doing research. It's not like available.
Oh yeah, you can go look on Diablo wikis and stuff for all that sort of info. You just read up on it all. But you just know that stuff from playing the game so often. I know what area level most places are, and
Precisely
how to kind of balance it.
I guess I have one more Diablo question, and then I'll be ready. When you started learning everything, is there were you studying sheets in like a book or something? Like, is there some place that gives you the information, or is it just playing a whole bunch and then you learn from playing?
So both. I've actually created a lot of stuff now that makes it a lot easier for people to get into speedrunning Diablo 2.
Really?
A lot of that information wasn't around back then because, like I said, the world record was 145. I haven't run a 145 in 2 years, or a year and a half. I mean, we're at the point now we're running sub 120s.
Mm-hmm.
We've changed the game, shifted it, studied it, created the strategies, and built guides for it as well. So it's a whole different ball game now. But yeah, I mean, even at the start, I was sitting there studying sheets. I was studying, what are map patterns? How is it, if I enter here in this map, is it this way the exit? Is the exit facing this way? Is the exit facing straight up? How are the tiles, right? What do the tiles look like? And we can even get to specifics.
Bring out that origami again.
Yeah, origami. I'm gonna do a little drawing for you guys because I love drawing maps and stuff. But like this right here is like an entrance. I'm gonna give you guys 2 entrances to the stony or to the underground passage. Okay, boom, right here. That's a bomb mano, you can see. So the first entrance is like this. The second entrance is like this. They look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing when you enter immediately, this one right here, I need to run this way on. This one right here, I need to run this way on. Right?
Oh my goodness.
And there's a million of those. So those sorts of things, you're constantly just like exploring the game and then looking at just like what do all the tiles look like and what are they leading to and how do I think that this is going to, what can I learn from it? So there's been a lot of that stuff that's been done. And then beyond that, it's playing and testing. Mm-hmm. Is it better to, get that experience shrine? I'm going to do 100 tests with it and kind of see, or just feel it out. Because even at the end of that, the bosses never spawn the same, all that stuff. Yeah. So you just have to feel it and just say, it feels like this is kind of better. And you do that until somebody else comes along and says, oh, I think this is better. And then you try it out and maybe it is. And that's how different builds get made as well. So before, the sorceress used to respec to Nova at you'd go level 13 in the tower and then you'd respec to Nova and continue from there. But then somebody started shifting over into continuing to charge bolt, not respec until Act 2, which is where you change your skills up, basically. You get to do it one time. And that actually was like, oh, now that we're starting to feel this is starting to feel a little faster. So it's hard, once again, there's no hard science to prove it, but it's just when you do it enough, you're just like, yeah, this is feeling faster. And that's it.
Okay, so to sum it up, what would you say in like one sentence or two about Diablo 2 in general? The idea of speedrunning Diablo. What are the main things you have to take into consideration?
Diablo 2 is the most RNG intensive speedrun that you'll ever find. It's near impossible to figure out an ideal Taz. I don't think there could be a Taz run for it, because I don't think you could
that's what I was
program a
gonna
bot.
ask. I was gonna ask.
I don't think you could program a bot to have the knowledge and logic without it hacking and cheating, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
There's almost no way to program that thing to make all the decisions that you make along the way, and run faster than I think a human could run it, unless you get like crazy AI insane stuff at which point maybe. But it's insane. It's insane, but it's a lot of fun. You're not always going to run a record.
Right.
You don't always have the ability to run a record.
Exactly.
You might go a week without getting a run that'll let you run a record. But you're always going to have a new experience.
But it's the idea of having a new experience and finishing a run with a new experience, and you feel accomplished in that sense every time you finish a run. That's great. That's great. It's a completely different world to a game like Mario 64. It's in the complete opposite spectrum, which is, I think, really cool.
Complete opposite. But I love it. I love both. I love watching your runs as well, because it's so cool. Like I said before, it's so cool that you always have the ability. If it's you control it completely.
Right.
Whereas Diablo 2, it's out of control sometimes.
But yeah, it's always nice to dig into the opposite side of the spectrum as well. I think I'm really interested in doing that too. I would love to run a game that's completely different and experience that side of speedrunning.
We should have a trading places.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Like mom swap.
Mom swap.
Speedrun swap. The big daddy
dad
speedrun swap. Yeah,
dad swap. There you go. It's a dad swap. Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Does it ever get to you?
Sometimes. Every now and then. Like yesterday I was running, and at 46 minutes into the run, I was probably about 3 minutes under world record on pace, I felt. Because I just got that experience shrine into Champion Beetle pack. Super rare. Outside. Super wonderful. Saved a ton of time. I was feeling great. And I said, guys, this is the world record run. And that jinxed it, because every single possible thing that could go wrong after that in terms of RNG went wrong. I fourth wayed the Arcane Sanctuary. Every single thing was couldn't find it on the maps, and just the terrible spawns of monsters, and everything from that point on went terribly wrong.
Oh, that sucks.
And I sat there, and at the end of that run, it was just like,
it's over.
It was. Yeah. So that, you get a little salty when that happens sometimes.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of salt.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm used to it. That's my everyday, right?
It's every speedrunner's every day.
Every Diablo 2's runner's every day.
Yeah.
So you usually get saltier when you're watching somebody else run and they get nothing wrong. Like everything just keeps falling into the
you get
like, I found this amazing item. Oh, there's the map right there. Oh, look at that. Perfect monster spawn. There's an experience shrine. And you're like, are you kidding? Are you ever going to have anything bad for you? Like, I would have got totally screwed there. Oh, you first made the Arcane Sanctuary. Like, that's usually makes me saltier, is watching somebody else not get any crap.
That sucks.
And I had to watch one dude. I got a world record. This was like 2 years ago. I got a world record on the Druid, and I ran a really good time. I played it well, and I had decent RNG, and I was feeling great. And then after I got the world record, I immediately switched over. And this record had been there for like 8 months, 9 months. I switched over to my friend Stream, who's the other most competitive runner. He has the most records in the game right now. I switched over to his stream, and he was 30 minutes into a run on the same character. And I watched him proceed to get the world record with the best RNG I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Just like getting all the shrines. He found boots with 20 faster run walk on them. Like everything went even more perfectly. All of his maps with the exits were like right next to the entrances, so he could just keep going really fast. And I was just like, I just died inside. I got the record for an hour. I had the world record after 8 months. 8 months it hadn't been touched. I got it. God. Within an hour it was gone.
That's exactly what happened to me in Punkation, actually.
Yeah, I remember that.
Punky had a year without world record. He gets it, and then same day I take it.
And then same day you took it back. It was the exact same scenario. And I cried. That was it. I just cried. Broke down.
He broke down. Oh, that was great. Okay. All right, so how about we move on to another part of the podcast? We've already been going for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Wow.
Oh, dude, that was some. I'd love to talk even more about it, but we got stuff to do. We got to keep it moving.
We got a lot on Diablo 2. I think I've seen a lot of comments of people saying that they didn't know much about the game and they realize how crazy it is in terms of speedrunning, especially. Okay. So. Simply mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about something on growing your community, I guess. Do you have any thoughts on that? But first of all, it depends on what we're talking about exactly. Are we talking about your individual community, on the game you run, or what are we talking about here?
I was thinking more individual community, but also the game you run. I think that's a pretty good one to cover. I feel like that's something you've definitely done for the Diablo community with your resources that you've created. Did you create that thing on your stream where you can click it and you see all your items and you can read them?
Somebody else made that extension. It's the greatest thing in the world.
That's so cool. That is the coolest thing I've seen on a stream.
Yeah, probably. There is an extension. So it's a two-piece thing. First, I have a program that somebody else built that I run on my computer that reads Diablo 2's memory. And it will report back whatever I want. So whenever I get runes, whenever my resistances change, my level changes, I can put life, whatever I want on there. Whenever that changes, it will read the memory constantly and constantly update that. And then I can capture that and put it on my stream. So that's amazing in itself, right? You can see all my resistances, all my faster cast rate, run walk, all that stuff constantly. Additionally, there is now an extension that another person built on Twitch that will read from that program. And it reads the items that I have on my character and then displays them. So like you said, you can hover over my stream, click on the extension. It opens up my fake inventory, and it will show you all the items that I'm wearing. And that is the coolest thing ever.
Wow.
That's insane.
That was built by people in the community for this purpose, and I love them so much.
That's awesome.
So going back to the original question, I think growing the community and growing my own community both worked hand in hand because Diablo 2 didn't really have a community prior to me speedrunning it, which is actually why I kind of wanted to get into it, or why I thought it would be a great game. Because when I did that search on Diablo 2, I saw one guy had like 50 viewers, and then there were like 3 people streaming with like 5, 2, and 1 viewer. And I thought, I watched it and it was kind of like stretched out and not a great layout and all this stuff. And I thought, there can be better, right? This community doesn't have a forerunner right now that has good layouts, that has a lot of content, that has all of this stuff constantly there. So it can be better. And additionally, I thought Diablo 2, if Diablo 2 came out today, or if Twitch existed in 2000, Diablo 2 would have been the #1 game on Twitch. So it's not like it was just some random indie game or some random thing that never had. It used to be the game to play.
Dude, that was every single day I come back from elementary school. First thing I do, I go play some Diablo.
Play Diablo 2. It was the game to play until kind of World of Warcraft came out and stuff. Then that became the game to play, right? But like that was the game. So I thought, a lot of people have experience with this game, have nostalgia for this game, have a love for this game, but nobody's running it. And Diablo 3 came out, and that got mixed reviews. Some people enjoy it. Other people who like Diablo 2 a lot don't like Diablo 3 at all. And so I just felt like there was a lot of love out there that could be for the Diablo community that just didn't exist. And I thought, I think I could lead the charge in it. I think that's a place that I could step in and add speedrunning to it, add good layouts, add cool videos, add guides, everything like that, and grow it. And
You did.
Yeah, you've done a great job.
And that's what I've done, and it's worked out even better than I honestly could have imagined. So I kind of feel like I led a lot of that. The other record holder, Teo, kind of helped in that, and then Ryu Quetzalcoatl also did a lot in that as well. When he became a full-time streamer. I work and stream, but he became a full-time streamer and was just powering through and just every day going. And he also really helped further that community. So kind of those pieces and just everything through there, I thought it made a lot of sense, and I still think it does. And for somebody who's maybe trying to look at how would I, where could I build a community for myself or for a game or anything like that, I still think there's places on Twitch that you could, right? Look around at those kinds of games like a Diablo, right? You could go back to maybe some Final Fantasy games or some Knights of the Republic games or whatever, right? Go look at those sorts of games that have people that are nostalgic for it, that have that fun. Mario 64, right? Like games that we loved, and make them happen, right? You can go in there and be the best player, be the best streamer of it, right? Have a good layout, make it look professional, have a schedule, whatever. Because a lot of people don't have that stuff, and that's huge. And then have a place where people can meet up, such as a Discord, where they can come. And now my Discord is there's thousands of people in my Discord that hang out and play Diablo. And so if there's Diablo talk, they'll talk in there. Like that's like where people can meet up to find other Diablo people. And that's great,
This is why I was saying that Discord is like the best thing that could have happened to all gaming, pretty much.
Discord's amazing.
It's amazing. Okay, do you guys want to get into the Q&A section?
Well, yeah, I have a couple questions for growing your channel. So if you could just take me back, like through your journey, was it a sudden growth or was it like linear in terms of your growth? Was there something that made it pop off? Was there like a moment? Have you ran at the GDQs at all?
Yeah, I've done 3 GDQs.
Okay.
Yeah. The Doctors Without Brothers thing was me, if that rings any bells. If not, don't worry about it. Yeah. So I wouldn't say, I'd say it's been pretty linear. It started and it actually jumped quickly pretty early on because I went in and I put on the best stream that Diablo 2 had. Okay. So that was because there weren't a lot, right? People had stretched screens, people had no cameras or dark lighting, and it was bad. People just didn't have quality streams. So I went in, I built a layout. I had, fun little things. I had cool alerts. I had my camera with decent lighting. I had the best looking stream. So if you went to the page and you looked at the 5 streamers, you would click my stream because it looked more professional than the others, right? So initially it started off and it jumped pretty quickly. I was able to get 10 viewers, 20 viewers, 30 viewers within the first couple weeks, which like when I did StarCraft 2, after a year and a half, I could get like 15 viewers, it was such a slow progression. And in that case, I was able to jump to that. And then it kind of slowly progressed up, right? I remember when I first got that 50 and when I first got my first 100 viewers and stuff, that was like crazy after a couple months.
Yeah.
And it probably took more than a couple months, but whatever it was, I remember like that, the climb to get to those things, but then it started to get kind of pretty linear. And then I don't really know if there was ever a point where it just went You know, it just like jumped up like crazy. But it just kind of kept going up. You know, it just kept going up, and then life got in the way sometimes, so it'd go down a little and up a little. But I've found a good balance with it now, and there wasn't any like I got a host from Lyric and then it happened, or I ran at AGDQ and then everybody found me. It was like all of the things over time added on 1, 2, 3 more people.
That would feel a lot more accomplished. You feel a lot more accomplished doing it that way as well.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I guess for me it was I did have a few moments where it just went whoosh, just like that, because like when I got my world records and Mario 64 being a popular game, it would just like shoot up. But from that
like guaranteed,
from that shot up that I had on certain runs, then that attracted more of a base, and then I would get more views in general, and then I'd get another world record, it'd shoot up again, and then I'd get more in general again, and it just went up and went up. Yes, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I've definitely had moments like that. I mean, you know, if I'm running a world record run, it doesn't quite happen like a N64 one for, you know, Ocarina of Time or Legend of Zelda or Mario 64 or anything like that. Because those ones you can kind of, you know, a record's coming more. As opposed to Diablo 2, it's like, the RNG can screw you.
Yeah.
But you definitely get like some of those kind of ramps, and it's, you know, you just kind of go up slowly like that with it. So it goes all over. But I've never had the 16K, you know, viewer
that was
come in
insane.
to finish a run or anything where it lags my computer.
Yeah, completely, because my laptop is amazing.
Yeah.
That was so
I thought it looked good.
It was
I
so
liked
embarrassing.
it.
It was embarrassing. I didn't know it was frame dropping because I had the chat, but I forgot about the chat and the viewers. Gonna screw up the frames, but oh well.
16K slideshow.
Man, so embarrassing. But it won't happen ever again. Never again, I promise. You have any more questions, Simply? You said you had a couple, or
I guess that's it. If you were to sum it up, like you have a schedule, right?
Yep.
Like at the same time you'll start every day?
No. I do a flexible schedule because I work full time. So I work 40 hours a week, and then I stream probably another 25 to 30 hours a week. So I try and bounce. I give myself more flexibility, but I try and keep a schedule on like a Google Calendar that I have on my site. So you can always see when I'm going to be live in the next week or 2 weeks. You can see the days and times. But I try and allow myself room for breaks and for, you know, if there's a day I just don't want to stream, I'm just not going to put it. And then I also try and go on a vacation or get away or go to, you know, go hang out with friends, whatever. I try and leave that more open. So that way, if, you know, somebody comes to me and says, hey, you know, this is, let's go do this. I can go, okay, yeah, sure. Let's go do that. Instead of, oh, I have to stream because I already have a job that requires 40 hours of exact hours.
Right.
I don't want to have even more of that in my life.
Okay.
So I think it works out pretty well. Honestly.
Awesome.
Sweet. All right. Well, I think we're ready to move on to the Q&A.
Okay,
cool.
Boys. All right, chat. This is your time. Post your questions. I saw a couple of questions before. I guess I could start with those. First interesting question I saw was from Isaac. He asked, how long would it take to learn everything about the game before you can actually start doing runs of Diablo 2?
You can start immediately. Like I said, my first run was 4.5 hours. My second run was 3 hours, 45 minutes. My third run was like 3 hours, 15 minutes. And I kept working down. I remember getting to 2:30 and being kind of caught, and then 2:20 and 2:15, 2:14, 2:12. Like it took me a while to really push down through those times. But playing the game was the best way to learn and to get a feel for it, because it's not just knowledge, it's practicing it, which I'm sure is every single speedrun. But there's a different feel. Like I said, the way of looking at Diablo 2 and playing Diablo 2 is very different. When I'm playing the game and I get hit, I feel that stun and I can't move my character even though I click. So I click to move my character. She gets hit, she doesn't actually move. Or I click to cast something, she gets hit, she doesn't cast it. When you're watching, you don't always see, you don't get to feel the effect. So you go, why didn't he cast right there? When you're playing, you go, oh my God, that's why it's not casting, because I literally can't cast because my character's stunned. It's really difficult to see that. So the best way to do it is to play, to get better at your accuracy,
Right.
and to just do it all at the same time. You can't just sit and study. I'd say sit and study. I've got 20 YouTube videos on my channel that is like a guide series to take you through it. It'll teach you everything you need to know about the basics to get going. So, spend 3-4 hours watching that stuff, take some notes, write down some basic stuff of the build order, and then play, because that's how you're going to learn.
Would you ever transition to a full-time streamer? Do you view streaming as a potential full-time career?
I think I would, and I think I do. It's one of those that's always a tough decision, right? It's maybe not always. Some people are like, screw it. Yeah.
It's
but it's a
something
big
about.
decision. Especially when you look at something like, now I have to go get my own health benefits, and now I don't have, a company that's gonna maybe do 401k matching and all, and is this going to be economically viable for me in the future? I know for me personally, I never want to depend on one person. So if I have one or two people, so if I have a couple big donors, I don't want to say I hate that. Obviously I love that, but I would hate to go full time with the expectation that they're going to keep donating.
Yeah, that's
right?
very scary. There are a lot of people that kind of go off of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of streamers that do that, and I would never want to do that. I would want it to be so spread out, which is why I think sub count and stuff is a much better place for it.
Right, exactly. I'm more even
if I have 1,000 subs, now it's kind of more spread, a little more consistent. Obviously, it goes up and down, but I can feel more comfortable in that regard. So, yeah, it's something that I always kind of judge and weigh. But it's tough. That's a tough leap to make and choice.
I don't know about, I could definitely say it's tons easier to live off of streaming in a place like Europe or Spain, where I live, where if you're a citizen, you get free healthcare no matter what. Everything is free. Stuff like that. And I know, overall living expenses are cheaper here. It's a lot easier that way, because streaming is a kind of job where it's your own thing. You're making your money. It's an entrepreneur kind of thing. So, it's just a lot different, but it depends on where you live, whether or not you can live off of streaming or not, basically.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Lots. Do you find one, Sim?
Yeah, this is actually from the Discord Q&A, the question server on our Discord. A-Bomb asks, what sort of things did you have trouble with while learning the run? What still gives you trouble today?
Sort of things that I had trouble with learning the run. I would say figuring out how to gain experience properly along the way. That was difficult at the start and still does kind of give me difficulty, because it's just so tough to always think, is it better for me to take a second and kill this monster or to move on? Is it better for me to look for that shrine, to go look for that boss group? How much should I do that versus how much should I move on? And then also I would say currently a thing that's difficult is I'd say that's the biggest one that's currently. I'd say earlier on, identifying all the tile sets and making the right move was tough, because there's so many tiles and so many different possibilities, and trying to figure out exactly when you should look in a different area or something or when you should turn back and all that. It just, early on, it was so much information.
So follow-up question from myself. If you see an elite, do you always go, are elites always worth it to go for to kill?
If you need experience, a boss group, 98% of the time. Sometimes it won't be. It depends if it has what kind and at what exact time it is that you might not go for it. Such as if it's a cold enchanted archer group and it's really early on and they're in a tiny area, going in there's probably death. You probably aren't going to be able to kill them, or you're going to waste so much time. Additionally, if it's a tainted boss group and you have enough experience, maybe you don't go there. Like, most of the time, yes, but not always. I do skip unique boss groups every now and then. And that's one of those, when you play for 3 years, you just learn when exactly you want to kill that group and when you don't want to.
The sixth sense.
Yep, pretty much.
Cool. We have, or go ahead, Cheese. You have a question?
Go ahead, you.
No, go ahead, you.
No, you.
Okay.
I'm setting up my laptop so I can look at the questions on Discord here.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me get the next one. The Nut asks, how optimized has the game become through the years? What are some milestones, EI, big skip that changed the way the run is executed? Who are the fathers of the Diablo 2 speedrun? And you're obviously one of the dads.
I'm one of the dads. Teo's one of the other dads. Ryu's one of the dads of hell hardcore speedrunning. Nightfall and Pascal are one of the dads of just getting it basically started way back. I'd say those are all the dads. Big milestones, really, kind of going with the source. Everything kind of followed with that. I mean, obviously you could say like the hell runs and things like that. But getting sub 130, sub 120 on Sorceress were all pretty big milestones. Getting the Sorceress below the Assassin was a milestone there for sure. Running Hell Sorceresses, getting sub 5 hours and then sub 430 and 4, those kind of milestones. So there's a lot of stuff kind of along the way. It's just kind of evolved into, we run a lot faster and a lot better now with a lot better knowledge. In the past, like to think that 145 and 141 were the world records is kind of like, it's silly,
Yeah.
But at the time it was so fast.
Yeah.
It was just like,
dude, that speedrunning, man. Every time, like you look at, I guess when you're watching Sig back in the day, it's like 144. That looks insane. But then once you're actually speedrunning, you get into it. It just keeps going lower. As long as you put more time in, more grind.
Yep.
It always goes lower, and that's like the best part.
Yeah.
You just surprise yourself.
Somebody
with what
finds
you can
that
do.
canonless setup and
Yeah, and then you're like, wow, my life is amazing now.
I think without Canada,
That's pretty much what happened.
If somebody finds an arcane sanctuary read, which I don't think ever will happen because I don't think there is one, that would be the canon list right there. That would be my canon list setup.
All right. I see someone typing a new question in the Discord, but he's not typing it. Okay. This guy made it's not really a question, but I see a long kind of comment. I don't know. Spork Revolution. I mean, it could be translated into a question. Spork Revolution. Hi, Mr. Llama. I've tried running Diablo 2 HC Sorcerer, hardcore sorcerer, over 100 times. I barely die in normal. I die a fair bit in nightmare.
I always die in hell.
Yeah, I've gone to hell 20 times, but never made it past Act 2. Any advice?
Yeah, that is extremely common. That is the one. That's where the game ramps up in difficulty to another level, and then it keeps ramping up after that. It's the stupidest jump in difficulty that you'll ever find. My best advice is get your resistances up is my first thing. If your resistances are low, you're never going to get past that. Get to the 63 faster cast rate breakpoint if you can. That's going to be another big thing that can help, because a lot of times monsters won't stun you in that, whereas on the 37 they will. I know that's not always something you can do, but you want to try and get there. And try and maybe just be a little bit safer when you're running through those areas. The Maggot Lair and the Claw Viper Temple are going to be scary. It's going to be, there's a lot of deaths that you're going to have there until you get good enough that you're not going to die there as often. Don't be afraid to use the escape key. Have your hand hovering near that whenever you're in those areas. Quit the game if anything comes up that's bad. But it's just going to take practice.
When you quit, do you just go right back to the town when you log back in?
Yeah, you go back to town. So you lose your town portal and any progress you had on that, and all the monsters reset. So if you killed anything along the way, it resets. But at least you're not dead. You know, hardcore, you get one life. That's it.
Oh wow. So a
Oh
simple
no,
question.
Twitch might be dead. According to
What
chat.
What happened? Anyone's getting a black screen. A black screen.
We're getting a couple of nopes though. We still got some boys here.
Oh, my stream seems
Apparently.
fine. Stream seems fine.
Yeah, it looks fine on my computer too. I think we're
Yeah.
getting hustled right now.
Still fine on my computer.
I have a simple question here. How was your first time speedrunning? I'm guessing what he's asking is, how did you feel after your first run? What were your thoughts?
Well, I ran in 4.5 hours, and I thought I was going to run about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I felt a little discouraged, but I felt really excited because I realized that there was so much time to be saved for myself, and I just kept, and it made me want to keep playing.
Yeah, I think most people feel that way after the first run. It's always like a reality check. Okay, no, didn't get the time I thought I was. I got double the time, but you always feel that huge boost of motivation. It's like, okay, this is where it starts. This is gonna be fun.
This is the start. And the best thing is, you know, you can improve, right?
Exactly.
When I run if I run like a 116 on the sorceress, it's gonna be like, oh my god, it's gonna take forever to improve. Like there's so little things. But when you run it and you run 4.5 hours, you're like, there's so many things I can do already that I can make better. Like there was 5 minutes where I just ran around in a circle like an idiot, you know.
Precisely.
Yeah.
What is the RNG versus skill ratio in D2 speedrunning?
RNG is insanely high. Skill requirement is also insanely high.
So the perfect speed game.
Perfect speed game. It's one of those that, like I said before, I'm gonna beat you every single time that we run in it, you know, that we play against each other. And I'm gonna beat a majority of the runners of the game every time that if we race.
Regardless of the high end RNG factor.
Regardless of the RNG, even though it's huge.
Right.
But eventually, if you get up to where you can start running 130s, 130 lows, you might take a game off me or two. If you start getting where you're running in the 120s, now we're going to start trading games back and forth. Like when you get to a certain skill level, you know, at the tippy top, a minor difference in skill isn't going to make enough, you know, like you're the best runner of Super Mario. And if somebody's 30 seconds slower than you, a minute slower than you, that's a lot. And it's going to be tough for them to take that record from you, right? If they're 30 seconds slower than me, a minute slower than me, that's not going to be as near as hard for them to get a run that has RNG for that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very complicated in terms of Mario compared to Mario 64.
Yeah.
We got a question from Hey Chi. How can we grow the D2 speedrunning community even bigger?
Watch, hang out, you know, follow along, and
join MrLlama's Discord.
Join my Discord, and honestly,
got thousands.
Share it to friends and watch. Just like watching and sharing that stuff, right? If you sit there and whenever I go live, or anybody in the Diablo community goes live, if you're there watching, if you're sharing it out, retweeting it, any of those little things help it. Right. You might not be, you could sit there and say, I'm not lyric sharing it out, so why should I? I mean, it doesn't matter. If you get one more person to come join it, if everybody got one more person to come join it, that doubles it. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's for any community. It's just be a part of it and be involved and do what you can. Even things like, you found a funny clip of it, or there was a good run, share it to Reddit, maybe, you know, whatever. Like, just the more things that you do in that regard, the better chance it is that it grows.
Okay. Seems to have everyone saying that Twitch is going through problems right now. Not sure what's happening here. Black
up and running.
All
right.
But also, people also say it's up and running. Okay, any question?
You got the VOD regardless.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you of Todd Rogers coming for your world record, Kappa?
With the kappa.
I don't know.
11.
Yeah, 11. 11. We'll go with 11. That seems about right.
Talk to us about
Perfect.
Daughters Without Brothers, Mr. Llama. What was that about?
So, when I ran at SGDQ, it was my third time speedrunning at a GDQ. And the first few times I ran, I just was straight faced, plain, just like gonna go through my run and talk about it. And it was fun, it was great, but it wasn't memorable, right? It wasn't anything at the end of the time where people went, oh, that was so funny, or that was such a great run. That was like the best run I've ever seen, right? Nobody ever really said that about Diablo 2 or my speedruns for the first 2 GDQs. So for the third one, I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a script for the entire run. And I'm going to, like, I wrote just a page of jokes and I kept them up on my monitor. And I just went through and basically the entire run, I did my speedrunning with tutorials and all that stuff. But then I would also throw in these terrible jokes that I'd written the whole time. And one joke that I wrote was after a lady donated, and she donated this very sweet message saying like, hey, it's so nice, Dr. Brothers is such great, or Borders is such a great charity and all this stuff. And I said, and everything was straight face. I was trying to just plain, just I'm serious going about it.
Deadpan.
And I said, that brings up a really great point. When I was younger, I remember growing up with my brother and what a great role model and support he was for me. And the whole time Bible thumps are just filling the chat, right? And what a great role model and support for me he was, and how caring he was. And during his during high school, he went off on a mission trip to a third world country, and there was a little bit of a scare there. And I remember him coming back and me getting to spend time with him. And I just running up and hugging him. And it was such like, I just remember so many feelings and so much emotions from that point. And to think that there are doctors without brothers out there who have never got to experience that is just the saddest thing that I've ever. And then at this point, I pretended like I got a notification in my headset. And so I went, hold on, what's that? Borders? What do you mean? And I said, all right, disregard what I said, everybody. But Doctors Without Borders, still a great charity. And I just kept running. And
That was good.
And it kind of blew up everything for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
It was tough fun. Half the people didn't get it. They thought that I got cut off actually by SGDQ. So people were like yelling at SGDQ, like, I can't believe you cut him off in the middle of an emotional story. And then so SGDQ came to me and they're like, yo, like, can you tell people that we didn't cut you off? Other people, it was just a whole thing. But it was a ton of fun. It was really stupid, but like, people were talking about it at the end, so it worked. Right.
Okay. I don't see any other much questions.
There was a lot initially, but yeah, they got pushed away.
Do you
so I can't
want me
get
to shotgun? I can shotgun some questions really fast. This is what I do when I do a talk show thing. So let's see. Oh man, those are really gone. All right, well, we'll go up here. Cheese or Simply, who do you fancy more? Oh, that's a tough one. I love them both equally. I can't go anything other than that. Yeah, exactly. Here's the black screen. Man, there was questions above this that I had.
Yeah.
I dropped all of them. What is the RNG for skill ratio? We did that one. All right, everything's Twitch dead. I literally had so many of the questions like on my page, and they all got pushed out.
Here's one.
Yeah, if you posted a question, just post it again, I guess. In the Twitch chat.
Here's one. I found one. What punishment do you hate the most during MVS?
So MVS is man versus stream. It's a thing I do once a month. I'll be doing it this Saturday. Basically, you get to just torture me for no good reason.
How do we get to torture you?
It's like subs donations, and basically I try and beat the game through hell with a character, but subs and donations will roll wheels that will set me back in different ways, making me drop items, making me put an oven glove on, making me play with a tiny hand, all sorts of things like this, and it's a ton of fun. It's really stupid, but the punishment that I hate the most is probably the oven mitt.
Really?
Because I have to put an oven mitt on my clicker hand, and it rolls so often that sometimes it'll be like 30 minutes that I have to wear an oven mitt. And when you're trying to you're in hell and you're trying to do these like precise clicks with your mouse and everything like that, and the mouse is like turning underneath your hand and stuff.
Oh my God.
It'll just drive you a little bit insane. Plus it gets hot in there and everything. So that's probably up on my top. Yeah. Probably up on the top ones right there.
That sounds pretty good. I'd like to. Is there like a list? I guess I'll have to see it this Saturday, dude. Man versus Stream.
Yeah, there's a list of all various punishments. All right. Somebody says, do you have to deal with carpal tunnel syndrome? How do you mitigate its effects? I have not had to, but I don't know. I stretch, do your stretches and things and try to avoid it.
Eat your vegetables.
Yeah, eat your vegetables, all sorts of things like that. Now that you have a world record, do you want to speedrun other games? Are you looking to run other games in the future? I've honestly thought about getting into Ocarina of Time speedrunning.
Ooh.
It's
okay.
It just seems cool, and it's so different. And once again, it's something that you can mostly control besides Stampe.
Well, you're used to that. Way worse.
Right, I'm used to way worse than that, though.
That'll be like heaven for you.
Yeah. So I've honestly thought about it, or some, because I love the N64 so much. So I've thought about it, but I also love Diablo 2, and I recognize that I am Diablo 2 in a way, right? Like a lot of the community I've built is all there for me to play Diablo 2.
That's true.
And so, while there is some opportunity, some stuff for, and obviously mix it up, have some other things. Like that's my bread and butter. If I, that's kind of, I don't want to say it's a responsibility almost, because obviously I can do whatever I want in the long run. But I think that's, that's where it's at. And I love the game still.
Do you feel like people count on you in the Diablo 2 community?
I think a little bit.
Do you feel pressured by it, or do you feel motivated by it?
Both. I think it's a motivating pressure.
Right.
Sometimes it feels like pressure, but I think a lot of times it feels like motivation. And I do love it still. I never have woken up and gone, I wish I wasn't speedrunning Diablo 2. I've never had that. And that's
Me neither.
Nice. That's nice.
That's good.
That is good. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I do wake up like that though one day, maybe I'll have to switch.
I don't think you will.
Diablo 3? What?
I said, oh yeah, that was one of the questions earlier. What's the difference between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3? Why did people not like Diablo 3 so much?
Diablo 3 was developed by different people. The people who developed Diablo 2 all left, and Diablo 3 was picked up and developed by new people. You can't speedrun it, really. It's built not on the game, but on the end game, and it's built to be a more casual played game. That is just, you can more button mash sort of stuff with it.
Okay.
You can obviously get technical and skilled with it if you get really late into it and all that stuff. And it's not a terrible game. A lot of people say it's a terrible game. It's not. But it's built more for people, I think, who played World of Warcraft and not people who played Diablo 2. And so all of the things that people love about Diablo 2 that really love that, you won't find in Diablo 3. And that's where a lot of people felt let down. So.
Okay. Fruity Gecko has a question for everyone. Why did you want to speedrun? Why did you choose the game or games that you did? And are you glad you spent time practicing and playing it? Pretty generic question, but
Yeah, I mean that was kind of addressed at the start, I think.
yeah.
But you know, in a rough way, I chose it because it was a game that didn't have a streamer really, but I thought could be streamed well, and a game that I'd already put thousands of hours into as growing up.
Right.
Yeah, so I already loved the game, so I thought, why not?
Totally respectable. I think it's the same reason why me and Simply chose Mario 64, because we love the game and it looked the most exciting.
Yeah, well, I saw Siglemic streaming. I watched Cosmo for a while, and then I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I played Mario on keyboard.
You played on keyboard?
Yeah, I played on keyboard, and I was like, I'd like to play this on a controller. And then I just I didn't want it. Like, I didn't plan to speedrun, but I gave it a shot. Yeah. And it was just too much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I started speedrunning in 2014, but in 2013, like a year before, I actually started playing Zelda Ocarina of Time first, and I started like going around forest, Kokiri Forest, trying to do all these tricks like ISG and whatever, and I didn't know what I was doing, but like I just thought, I only played it that one day for like hours though, trying to do this stuff, and I didn't know how to find tutorials. I didn't know who to talk to, so I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And I stopped after that because I thought this game is too hard. I don't know. This game is intimidating. It was intimidating to me. Yeah. And then a year later, I saw a lot of Mario 64 as well, and I was like, you know what, Mario 64 looks a lot more player friendly, so I tried that game instead. But my first game in mind was always Ocarina of Time. That was always my main thing. But then Mario 64 came up, and then I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think Ocarina of Time's my childhood game.
Yeah,
I think we all have the exact same mindset here with starting out. Same progression of Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Siglemic, and
most people.
I just shifted beyond it. I went one step further and I was like,
you went AWOL. Something went wrong with it.
Something bad happened.
Nope.
One person asked, do I play Mario 64? Or speedrun it, and how good am I at it? I have never speedrun it. I think it would be fun. And then somebody says, would I race cheese in a Mario 70 star plus Diablo 2 speedrun combo? I think that would be amazing.
That would be crazy.
Ooh. I think we should have that where we both have to play each other's games and then shift over after practicing for like a week or something.
Yeah, like, we both have a week to practice, and then I mean, I think you destroy me though, because I feel like a game like Diablo 2, if I don't know much about the game, I'll just take hours and hours not knowing what to do.
I've never beaten Super Mario 64.
But Mario's so linear,
I've gotten like 40 stars.
Mario's very linear. You go to stages and grab the stars. I don't know if Diablo's that simple, I guess. That easy to figure out. But that would be fun. That sounds great.
Yeah, you'd get a week to practice. I'd teach you some things.
Yeah. Why not?
New reality TV show coming out, Dad Swap.
Dad Swap.
Next week.
Oh, I want that.
First guests are Mr. Llama and Cheese.
That sounds good.
Want it.
You have to live in each other's house too for.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I'll go to Spain. There you go. Be legit. I want to go to Spain.
All right. Well, we're almost reaching the 2-hour mark, so we could stop at the 2-hour mark. I think that this has actually been the longest podcast so far that we had.
Easily. And we could have just kept going too. I had some questions.
So much questions.
We could go for you. I told you I could talk Diablo 2.
Diablo 2 is a huge game. It's crazy, and it actually made me excited. Now I want to watch you stream all the time and check it out.
Dude, it was a lot of fun. I never watched you before. I watched you yesterday. Hooked. I was like, damn, what's gonna happen? What's he doing? Where's he going? He's gonna die. Oh no.
I remember simply years ago when we were just friends. He used to play Diablo all the time.
Nice.
I played a lot of Diablo 3. Diablo 2, I only used bots.
Diablo
I never got good at that game. I never put the work in. I just botted, and then I got banned, and I was like, man, this game sucks.
It's funny.
Stupid.
That's funny you mention that. I used to cheat in StarCraft. Which is the game that you started. I used to cheat. Yeah. I played StarCraft 1, and I saw cheat codes online. I just used to put those.
Pack codes, you just do like power overwhelming, Operation CWAL, all that
Well,
stuff.
it was StarCraft 1, and I was like 10. I was so young. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just saw cheat codes to get a lot of money and whatever, and I would just
show me the money,
and I would win because
Are you just talking about playing against computers, or
Yeah, computers,
'cause you can't?
obviously.
Okay.
No,
Single player. He's talking.
Single player, obviously.
That was me when I was like 8. I used to play until I would start getting like I would play, and then something would come in and wreck me, the computer, and then I would turn power overwhelming on, cheat myself up till I got enough to get them out, turn
Right.
all the cheat codes off, and play until they came in and wrecked me again. Then I would turn on invincibility, kill them all off until I would win. Yeah, I just did the same thing.
The cycle, the endless cycle of
Yep.
cheating.
Yep.
Bad stuff. Don't
Yes,
wanna
next
get
week's
mixed
guest
up in that.
is Todd Rogers for sure.
Todd Rogers next week. Oh wow, what a guess.
Jesus, that would blow up.
The whole time he's just trying to convince us that he still has the record.
Good legit. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me
Yeah.
on. I do.
It's been a pleasure.
appreciate it a lot.
It's
Yeah,
been, I think it's the most exciting show we've had so far.
good. I hope so. I hope
Yeah,
that's the case. And it's Diablo 2, right? How can you not be excited?
Yeah, because it's a game that I don't think much people are familiar with in the speedrunning community.
Yeah.
And after at least for me, after hearing it, it's like, wow, this game is crazy. And I had no clue. It's funny because we're talking about RNG so much lately, me and Simply. And then we have one of the games that have the most RNG in speedrunning talking about it. So it's pretty interesting that we had
So
that.
what RNG were you talking about? Because Mario has 0 RNG, right?
Mario has a lot of coin RNG. I mean, I would say on an average 120 star run, you would lose at least 25 to 30 seconds on coin RNG.
Oh wow. Oh, just from coins bouncing out. Yeah, when you jump on a monster.
Yeah,
That's fair.
because every little coin thing is like a second. Sometimes you lose 5 to 8 seconds in VOB 100, for example, and you don't even know how. Sometimes it's like, okay, was it really that bad? So I would say on average 20-25 seconds on RNG.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But yeah, that's amazing compared to yours.
The coins bounced in slight directions. I wish.
And that's
some days I wish that's all that I had to deal with.
There are like a few cases where you lose runs in terms of you lose too much time to continue kind of thing at the top level. Like when a blue coin in Wumps falls down in the bottom from the piranha, and then you have to go all the way down, get it back up, get it, come back up, and because it's the first 3 minutes in the run, people reset because you lose like 10-20 seconds, which is nothing.
So
only if you're going for world record, but because people are so used to resetting in Mario, and it's like a thing in the community, people who have like 145s reset after 10 seconds.
Oh yeah,
in the
I
beginning.
watched Clint Stevens watch a reset every.
It's ridiculous. They have no
bro,
need to.
You ain't running on a 138. You're fine.
I mean, my last world record lost 10 seconds in Wumps, and everyone else would have reset it over it,
Yeah.
But it's just a thing.
Yeah.
That we're used to.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was great having you, man.
It's been great having you. I just put my face in the mic, man.
Oh my god.
Yes, I remember that, Ben. Okay, so I will let you do your stuff. Where do we follow you? What times do we watch you stream?
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. Twitch.tv/MrLlamaSC. Everything I have is MrLlamaSC. YouTube, Twitter, whatever. Any tag, I just use that exact tag, or any site. My website's MrLlamaSC.com. Like I said, I just kept copy pasted that everywhere. That's my schedule. Yeah, you can find my schedule and everything on my Twitch page. And then my Discord's on that as well and all that stuff. So it's all right there. It all
MrLlamaSC all over.
MrLlamaSC.
Yeah, you Google
Twitter,
it.
YouTube, Twitch,
should be Facebook, MySpace,
Tumblr,
Tinder.
Tinder,
Grinder.
Yeah. In my headphones, Diablo behind me. That's it. So keep it simple. Make it
all
easy.
right, awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, everybody. We will catch you on the next one. Now, again, be sure to join the Discord because all the updates for the next shows will be there.
Discord's amazing. Get in there, guys.
It's the best, dude.
Get in.
Yeah, and
so good.
Our guest will be announced tomorrow. So if you guys who are wondering we'll still be on for next Monday at 5 p.m. CST, and the guest will be announced tomorrow. So
it's funny because I'm getting close to the mic again. My birthday is on Monday.
What? Happy birthday, Cheese.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's on this Monday coming in.
Nice.
So
You should be the guest then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Birthday
have a
boy.
second
Okay.
camera. There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So
Yeah.
we'll see you guys then. And all right.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye,
Good luck
Mr.
getting the
Llama.
records, babe. You got this. You
You
can
got
do
this,
it.
man. Keep us
Thanks.
updated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna join your Discord.
Yes, that's the place.
All right. See you around.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye. All right.